Welcome to the Atlantic Computer Case Study presented by Brittany Copeland, Brittany Gottler, Amanda Laird, Carrie Libertini, and Valerie Maloney. The case study begins with a management team meeting being held at Atlantic Computer to address a pricing strategy for their new product, the Atlantic Bundle. The team is led by Jason Jowers, the product manager who is responsible to develop the strategy. Also in the meeting are Chris Matzer, who is the head of the server division, Emily Jones, the director of the research and development team, Jairo Cadena, the director of sales, and Harry Fowler, the director of new product marketing. Atlantic Computer Inc. is the largest company in the overall computer industry, competing in the server market for 30 years. Traditionally, the main focus of their sales has been the high-end performance server called Radia, which was marketed to large enterprise customers. The firm was known for top-notch reliable products and had a developed reputation for providing high-quality post-sales assistance. Their main competitor is Ontario Computer Inc., a firm that concentrated its efforts solely on the low-end market server market with its Zinc product line. They currently claimed 50% of the revenue market share in the basic server. The server developed by the Atlantic Computer Company to compete in the basic server market is the Tron server. The Tron server performed approximately at the same level as Ontario's Zinc server. The real differentiator for Atlantic is the development of a new software tool called the Performance Enhancing Server Accelerator, or PESA. PESA, added to Tron, would allow it to perform up to 4 times faster than standard speed, giving it a market advantage. Tron with PESA would be sold as the Atlantic Bundle. The two main market segments in the server industry are the high-performance servers expected to demand approximately 200,000 units in the next year, with a projected growth rate of 3% annually for the following 2 years. Atlantic had already captured 20% of the revenue market share for this market. The new emerging market segment is for basic servers. The expected demand for this market was 50,000 units in the next year, but an expected annual growth rate of 36% in the next 2 years. The new server, the Tron, with PESA, was going to help Atlantic Computer compete in the emerging basic server market. This slide is just a recap of the project market demand for basic servers, including projected sales over the next 3 years. The Tron with PESA was an opportunity to compete in the market that had been dominated by Ontario Inc., but it was essential to get the pricing right and to figure out which businesses are most likely to benefit from this new offering. It's also important to consider how customers were likely to react and how competitors would respond to the pricing, presenting the challenge to develop an effective pricing strategy. The pricing strategy options basically came down to 4 options. The status quo pricing, which only charged for the hardware and included the PESA software tool for free. This was a traditional method used by the company. The competition-based pricing method was a second option and meant the company would charge a price equal to what customers would pay for 4 Ontario Zinc servers. The third option is the cost-plus pricing method and represented the standard pricing approach in the industry. It's based on the server cost per unit plus the software tool development costs spread over a 3-year period with a standard markup of 30%. The final method to consider is the value and pricing method, which is a method of setting prices in which an attempt is made to capture a portion of what a customer would save by buying your product. This slide represents a SWOT analysis of the company as it prepared to introduce the Tron with Pisa product, known as the Atlantic Bundle, into the basic server market. In the strengths, you can see brand image, previous successes, they're customer friendly and technologically advanced. Weaknesses of implementing costs, sales force that's not trained in selling the piece of software, the software pricing, online marketing, opportunities of competition, online marketing, and the Atlantic Bundle is one server instead of 4 for Ontario's. And then the threats of the competition, Ontario, brand loyalty, and retaliation. It was Jower's job to consider the current situation and then begin to compare the pricing strategies. The status quo pricing strategy would involve charging the conventional price of the basic server, which had been established at $2,000 and had been based on the cost plus pricing analysis. The Pisa software tool would be included for free. This was the preferred approach of Matzer, the head of the server division, and it would result in a price of $2,000 for each Atlantic bundle. The competition-based pricing strategy involves charging what the customer would pay for Ontario's Zinc server. The Tron with the Pisa was estimated to be up to 4 times faster than the Zinc. So this method took into consideration a conservative approach of 2 Trons to the 1 Zinc server, and a more aggressive approach, 4 Trons to a 1 Zinc server. Using the conservative approach, the cost per Atlantic bundle would be $3,400 per unit. Using the more aggressive approach, the cost would be $6,800 per unit. Jowers knew that Matzer and his colleagues tended to be more conservative when comparing strategies, so he would focus more on the conservative cost per unit. The cost plus approach utilized the basic cost to make the Tron plus a 30% markup, and then adding the cost of Pisa per unit. The cost of Pisa per unit was calculated using the total development cost and then dividing it over a 3-year recuperating to recapture cost. Using this method, the cost per Atlantic bundle unit would be $2,245. The final method is the value in pricing method. This method is based on calculations, again, using the conservative approach of 1 Tron, or 2 Trons to 1 Tron to 2 Zinc servers, and then comparing the 1-year savings. And then a 50-50 sharing of the savings gain with the customer is assumed. And then the basic cost of the server is added in. Using this method, the cost per bundle is $4,200. This slide shows the projected income estimated over the next 3 years using the value in method. This chart is comparing the status quo pricing versus the alternative approaches and the estimated revenue that would be lost by not using that method. It also shows that the value in method has the most potential to increase revenue for the company. After reviewing all of the options, the value in pricing strategy represented the best pricing strategy. It would help the company increase profits and would differentiate Atlantic among its competitors. The overall business strategy would include training the sales staff to effectively market the new strategy while continuing to offer strong post-sale customer service. Jowers thought it would be most effective to identify a customer from the proposed market to use as an exemplary customer. This would be part of the presentation on his new pricing strategy and also would be used to train the sales staff. He chose the daytraderjournal.com, which was a company seeking 4 basic servers and identified 2 of its key buying criteria as minimizing initial purchase costs and the subsequent possession costs. This made them an ideal customer who may be visiting a sales booth and could help them prepare a marketing plan to be utilized by the sales team. This slide shows the different ways the sales team could market the Atlantic bundle and its pricing strategy. It was important to take into consideration how other important stakeholders potentially could impact the implementation of the new pricing strategy. This included internal managers such as Matzer and Cadena and the sales force. So this slide shows their anticipated reactions. It was also important to anticipate how customers might react to the new pricing strategy and come up with a response to help overcome objections. In the end, coming up with a pricing strategy involved much thought and multiple considerations, including competitors, managers, customers, and the sales team. Taking all of these things into account was critical in order to come up with a pricing strategy that optimized the value of the Atlantic bundle and the competitive advantage it represented for the Atlantic Computer Company. It was also important to consider implementation issues and the sales team to ensure that the new marketing approach would be a success. Thank you for reviewing our case study with us.